Yeah, hi, Anne-Marie. Okay, fine. Not a problem. Still half an hour before we can enter it anyway. Have to check the opening price as well. You know, if it opens down, which it might do, what's the NAS doing? I know I should see S&P doing probably. Anyway, indices look like might be coming off a bit. Look like it. We'll see how fast anyway. How's Henny? Good afternoon. Just a few more seconds. Quite so far, only half a dozen. So we haven't got to see the sound of my voice, eh? Okay, I'll pass. Not quite. Afternoon, Fanny. Afternoon, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Let's just start off with a couple of trades we got out. It's about back to square one again. Did quite well earlier on, nicely in profit, down to 27. Then, unfortunately, it's picked back up to sort of break even again. See me jumping around, which is more or less the norm at the moment. So anyway, it was doing all right. Some guys might have said to hell of it and taken it, but anyway, it was a decent profit on back to square one. CAD JPY was in profit at one stage. Now it's actually, well, what we get? A lot now. That's right, 96 on the dot. So it's back to square one, but it's doing pretty badly. But it was up at one stage earlier on, around about this level here of the afternoon. That's right. So it started coming right, and then came down. So trying to break through here, so it's a bit down. I've got a 15-minute on, remember. So we'll see. But anyway, that's back to square one, but it's not a complete disaster. Okay, GBP CHF. Very well. Yeah, go for it, sir. Go for it, fine.
Sorry, I see that the CPI of CAD was announced, and it really does not affect the pair as much.
No, it didn't. CPI is not really the same business as it is in the US for some reason. I'm not quite sure the reason why. I'm not exactly an expert in Canada, but all that seems to follow the US. So, as you say, it's minus 0.3%. So it came down. You'd think that would have been, well, quite frankly, a bit weak for the Canada because obviously less inflationary. But it didn't really seem to affect it much. It came off a bit, as you can see, but then seemed to bouncing back. I just think the Canadians, quite frankly, just very oversold at the moment. I can't tell, obviously. I'm going to get your hopes up and say I know, which I don't. That I think there's a good chance. Well, I hope so anyway. But we got the trade out. Didn't really affect it too much one way or the other. And interesting enough, it's been doing its roundabout and come back to the same price again. So yeah, popped up, popped down, seem to be back at more or less the same price. So anyway, so the three trades we just mentioned there all seem around the same price. I've got a couple more out to check them. NGAS, our good friend NGAS, which I didn't take. Let's see, never mind, some guys did. Where's NGAS? Here we are. 3417. Now that's down still. So I don't know who took that. I didn't. You did, didn't you? Fine, that's right. Your idea. You might have taken it, but it looks like it's the right one. Yeah, NGAS. Yeah, 342, 347. That's not much. It's down a little bit, but pretty quiet as well. Euro CHF. That was trading. Some guys might have taken that as a sell. Put it down here. And yeah, well, it's actually a bit of profit, all right. So we're about 15 in profit on that one, plus minus. S&P is about the same, I think, around the 4,000 mark. Where this would be, yeah, around about the same. Slightly down, but a couple of pips, not too much at the moment. And dollar yen actually did quite well. It even took out 129 at one stage. Dollar, wrong one, sorry. 250 years. Yeah, this is this afternoon. Yeah, one stage this afternoon, it took out 129. I thought, well, after getting a decent rally, then decided to go back again. Dollar came off a bit. That's the major reason. So yeah, the dollar did come off a bit, back to 102. So just over 102. So yeah, anyway, so some guys might have taken it 129. Somebody actually called me up and said, well, I think, well, if 129 holds, maybe you can hold it, but if it comes off, I suggest probably take it. So I think some guys might have taken it. But even if you haven't, you're still in profit and it might try and move its way back up again. So that's all to the good. So we got one in a bit of a profit. This one is quite a nice profit. Three of them seem to be even Stevens. And yeah, including gas, yeah, about 3 or 4 more even Stevens at the moment. So pretty strange. Oh yes, gold is another one, but we can get the entry. Some people might have taken anyway, but I suggested it at the round figure of 1900. This is more of a pending one to sort of get an idea if it gets to that. Came pretty close. Came to 1904 at one stage. I thought it might just get it filled. Those who put a 1900 enter order in, but in the end it didn't quite get there. I think some guys took it. So if they did, well, they're up anyway. The risk reward might have been a bit up. Might have been out of sync, to be fair. But anyway, whatever. But I think some guys did take it. So, well, anyway, whatever. They're in a bit of a profit on that one. Okay. Right. So, not shoot the lights out, but not altogether too bad. Okay. Oh, you would say something, Greg? I'm waffling on again. Sorry, Fanny, what were you saying?
And I put a pending in for the second half of my order on gold. You know, I entered the first one on 1910. So,
Okay.
but it didn't reach it. So I'm also seeing what's going to happen.
Okay,
So
fine. Okay, so you left your pending order in at 1900, and the other half at the moment and up a bit. I get it. That's all right. And Pietro seems to think she did okay. Assume you're still on it. I mean, on gold, maybe there's something there. Good. Well, yeah, she'd be hovering a bit, but yeah. As I say, if that dollar continues to sort of stay lowish, right about the 102 mark, we might get towards a TP area. We'll see, but she's doing okay at the moment. I'm not sure the 190 is going to get filled, and I think a lot of guys rather it didn't get filled. We're already in it long anyway, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, but that's not too bad. So I say it's not really shooting the lights out. Not a lot of fireworks happening on the trades, but that's the market for you. But at least I don't see any of them seem to be disastrous at the moment, which is good news. Okay, right. So some in profit, some break even, so that's not too bad. Right. Yeah, if you've got enough money, you want to stay a longer period of time, no problem. Okay, looking at the short-term f-stop, I think some guys might still be in it. But anyway, one's been sent out, well, obviously by me, and then they post it. So let's see how that opens. See if we can get a price that's slightly higher, we can take it. If it's much lower, it might not be worth it. Make sure your risk rewards are okay. Anna Marie asked me, and she had quite some funny risk rewards on there. So I'm not sure where she got those from, but they're not allowed to tamper with the Yakult. They're not allowed to tamper. They can send, as long as they send what's being posted here. They can't tamper with it anyway. Not allowed to. Okay, so if you're not sure, just come to me and I'll give you whatever is there. Right, yeah, CHF-JPY came quite nicely to the party. It took 140 and then it came off a bit. I think some guys that might still be in it, so might put it again, but it doesn't seem to be doing too badly either. So overall, I say it's not a lot of fireworks, but it's otherwise it's okay. That's probably the best way to describe it, in my opinion. So it's starting to come right. I find our tradings are pretty good. It's when the trends come in, you know, the fundies come in. That's to stuff the system up. I suppose it's not surprising because they can be anything. But if you take the fundies out of the equation, the trading itself, I think we're getting the hang of it here. We might should jump the gun, but they're not too bad. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, Anne-Marie. But yeah, they're not supposed to tamper the figures at all. You can copy and paste the things sent out to their guys or whatever, as long as it's not the group ones, but some of the other guys, if they can. But yeah, bottom line is.
Roger,
yeah.
Can I just explain? I just received the QT.
Oh, the banner.
Without value, so that was on my cell phone. So I went to and tried to see what I can do on the chart.
I'm glad you clarified that, because he's not supposed to. Well, none of the BD guys or account managers or whatever supposed to tamper with it. But now I'm with you. So you got the banner, for whatever better word,
yes,
and then you decide to work out the others. Okay, no, that's fine. All right, that's good enough. I don't want anyone to get into trouble, but they're not supposed to. So if I say, let's say, I don't know, buy Google at whatever price, they can't, and stop loss TP, they can't, they can say to buy Google at the same price, enter in all the rest of it, you can't change.
No, it was only myself trying.
No problem, no problem. I get it. Thanks for clarity. Okay, good enough. Okay, so like I say, a bit quiet on the trading front, but not bad. So let's hope it continues in that direction. Right, no particular fundamentals are coming out. They're all cleared for today. Let's have a look for tomorrow. Is anything happening tomorrow? Let's have a look. Where else do we have it? Wednesday, back it's up stuff on the Bank of Japan. Yeah, so we got some Japanese coming out early in the morning, and a CPI coming out on the pound. So there's a couple of things coming out. Euros, oh, hang on, Euro CPI coming out 12 tomorrow. That should be important. And then we got PPI in the States as well as retail sales. So there's a couple to keep an eye on coming out tomorrow. So we'll remember on that. Okay. To be honest, trade-wise, we're not doing too badly in the amounts we're getting out. But I don't at the moment have anything new. I wasn't looking all the time because other calls had to make and taking up other stuff as well, and answering questions and you know, queries and things like that, and on the live chat as well. But so I haven't really found anything. I don't know if you guys have found anything new or want to go over anything or interact in any way. I look at Meta. What's the share market moving? Look at Meta. I presume you're looking for a sell. Yep, you are. Meta for a sell. I think Microsoft is a bit low. Can we get Microsoft? We might get Microsoft. Yeah, we might get Microsoft. Thanks, Brady. I forgot. I'm so used to these damn currencies. I forgot this session's about for shares. Okay. USCFDs. Write that down. Okay. That's one I'm looking at. Any other shares you want to look at, guys? Well, we can have a look at. Give us a few minutes now to have a look at them for preparing. It's not a cut question. It's a very important question, Eddie. Far from a cut question. You need to know this. Yields is the earnings, should we say, when you from a bond perspective. So, in other words, you borrow a million rand, let's say a US Treasury note to the tune of $1 million, usually as a note, and they call that the note or the paper or whatever. And it's got a specific yield on that. It's not for free. You know what I mean? Like anything, you've got to pay interest. Right. Now, how does that affect the markets? Probably more to the point what you're trying to get at is the fact that if the yields go up, it has a detrimental or a negative effect on the shares, and thereby shares then will be the indices as well, and on gold. Okay, and that's why it's important to keep an eye on that. Actually, what I'll do is I'll be basic for everyone so they got it. The biggest, the most traded of the lot is the US 10-year Treasury note. Okay, same as a bond. 15 years or 30 years of a bond. If it's about 5, 7, or 10 years, they call it a note. Same thing, bond really. And then if it's like 1 year or less, it's called a Treasury bill. Just so you know. Don't worry about the Treasury bill. You've heard about inverted yield curves. That's when the long-term interest is less than the short-term. Then you've got a problem. You've got to do something about it. Because obviously, if you get a better interest rate on a month, why on earth would you invest and tie your money up for 5 years if you're getting less than tying up for a month? So that's when you get an inverted yield curve. And that's when you normally have problems, and that's when they start putting pressure to increase or decrease interest rates rather, to try and solve that problem. Okay, so from the point of view, you've got the yield curve on there, just keep an eye on it, because if it starts going up, not starts, I mean, it goes up and down like everything else, but overall view, it goes up, it will have a negative effect on gold and the shares, basically. Okay. I'll do the economy calendar, try to do it every time I'm on it, just to remind myself to do it, because some people don't have it, they always get some new person joining. I hope that makes sense. It's not really complicated, straightforward. I'll explain why in a moment. It's pretty straightforward. It'll take 2 seconds. Just where I've got this copy and pasted. Give me a moment. Very straightforward. If you buy a share, right? That's what derivatives are. I'm talking about equity now. Buy a share. There's an element of risk involved. Better hard work where you got to research into it. Look at its PE values. Look at who the managers and directors are, look at his earnings per share, net asset value, all that sort of good research, and even there's a bit of risk involved. If you can put your money in the bank and it's completely risk-free and it's giving you a good return, you wouldn't bother taking the risk into a share. That's why we call that this. That's why when it goes higher, it makes it more attractive to have an interest-bearing, no-brainer account than taking the risk of getting shares. Gold, similar principle. They're called opportunity cost. Gold pays capital gains. That's it. There's no dividends or interest payable on it. It's a capital gain. So as you go into gold, you're forfeiting the interest rate you could have had if you put your money into the bank earning interest. Okay. So clearly, if the interest rate goes up, it becomes more attractive to put your money in the bank on interest than into gold. So there's a depreciating factor on gold. The only time interest rates go up and gold goes up at the same time is gold is the fear factor. A bomb goes off or an aircraft flies into a World Trade Center or something in New York. Clearly, that's bad news, and people often run to gold. Also, with the debt problems out there at the moment, India and particularly China, big buyers of gold, like a long-term hedge because it retains its value. Remember, currencies do not, gold does retain its value. So let's say, I don't know, 100 years ago, 60 years ago, it's $30 or whatever per ounce. It hasn't gone to 1900 an ounce. The actual currency has depreciated, if you see what I mean. It's the other way around. So it's still actually $30 an ounce in value, which means the dollar's depreciated to the stage you need more dollars to get that ounce. Not very well explained, but we've got some idea what I'm talking about there.
Right.
Yeah. Go on, yeah.
The reason I'm asking this, your screen shows the moving averages on 20, 50, and 200, I think.
No. The maroon one is 10.
Sorry,
the magenta one is 10. That's 50, that's 100, and that's 200 simple, yeah.
Okay, is that got anything to do with yields? Or am I missing?
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. The yields, you'll see if you go to that chart, I copy and paste it. That's the average price smoothed out over that period of time. So the average price of the Microsoft, they said misfit, Microsoft over 50 days, that's the average price. The up and down is the noise, like a serrated edge knife. That's the smoothed out. The average price has been pretty sideways over the last 50 days, sideways to slightly down over the last 100 days, and slight gradient down over the last 200. So in a way, you're saying it's a bit of a slow but sure downtrend, which we know anyway, but that's what it is. So I don't worry about that too much. I'm more worried about for the zone it's in and the support and resistance. But it's got nothing to do with the yields. The yields are the earnings. That's a moving average of the share price. The yields is the interest or the earnings on that particular 10 years. Okay.
Thanks, boss.
Does everyone understand why if the yields go up, it's negative for gold now? There's the opportunity cost, and the same with shares. It's probably somebody else on Bloomberg far more eloquent than me could explain it better, but as long as you got the idea, in simplistic terms, it's what it is. And I think some of those guys get carried away with jargon that they'll lose some people and what they're talking about. And mostly it boils down to fairly commonsensical anyway. Okay, so we're all clear on that. Good enough. All right, so time now attempts to go. I'll put the alarms in case I forget, so we can look at the shares only. So we'll go back to that. Yeah, okay. Meta and Microsoft looked at. That bub has given me so much hassle. I'm reluctant to try and chase it again because it just seems to bloody shoot the lights out. It was a bit of a dud of a share. I think with Jack Ma, when he came back to life, like when they brought back Jones back into Apple when Apple was battling, maybe they decided that's what they need, just pushed it up. Whatever reason, anyway, it seems to be surprisingly quite strong. So maybe leave it alone. Boeing is really, really strong for some reason. So don't chase it up. I'm a bit nervous to sell it now. So that's really, can we look at Amazon and anything happening on Amazon, technically speaking? Not really. I'd rather sell it down there. It might come off, but it might go up higher. So we'll leave that. There's no technical there to look at. Just try and make a note of a couple that we can have a look at. We've got Meta and Microsoft, well, like an F-stop, of course. I just want to look at Google, anything to offer on that one. We could look at Google as well. Google might be a possibility, soon it's like an opening, so I'll put that down as well. See if we get something going there. And Tesla. Thank you. Good luck, Tesla. Thank you. So I need your help, guys. Thank you, Brady. Yeah, Tesla. We had one the other day. I'm not sure what stopped out. Some wider stop might have made a couple of bucks, but it's getting near the top. We do it. I want a wider stop. It's quite a volatile one. I think the last time it stopped a bit on the close side. So a slightly wider stop this time, depending how it opens. So I'll put that down as well. Clearly, you get what I'm thinking. Sell all of them. We're not out of the woods yet. Still very much, as always, sell the rally. But Apple, yeah. Yeah, that's looking like a possibility as well. See how that opens. Okay, thank you. Anyone else, guys? Yeah, I agree with you, Brady. I agree with you. See how it opens, then we'll work it out. Remember, you can only use the Excel spreadsheet for this one. Mine's going to be a bit of jip, but it doesn't really matter. I just work it out per share, but it's a different thing. The entry and the stop loss area is quite simple. But if we do like it, I'll put it on chat line if we like it, vote on it, or yeah, I'll put it down. And if you guys like several things quite good, I'll copy and paste it for head office to post to everybody else. They do the, I have to authorize to go out, and they do the actual administration outside by sending it. Okay. Right. Okay. Hang on, the background noise there. I'm just going to mute you guys. If you want to chat to me, absolute pleasure. Of logs on point here. And then I'll unmute you, no problem. Okay, Roland, good stuff. And you guys, welcome. There's a few experienced guys in here, so if I'm waffling on about something else, looking at the charting and you ask a question, some of those guys are more experienced and jump in and assist you. Very much remember, this is a forum. It's a bit like King Arthur's Round Table. Or I am the host, I get that, but from that sort of thing, I have a bit of control, I suppose. But the idea is we're not trying to beat each other up on egos. I got that right, you got that wrong, sort of thing. We're trying to do this together. And if I get it wrong and you get it right, I'm pleased to do that sort of attitude. Okay. The US 30, if we call it that, if you like, we should stick with the Dow. A lot of people call that, get confused. You can't find the US 30 on here. No, it's under the Dow, so it'll make it easier. But some other have US 30, we have the Dow. The difference is sometimes on the spot price, the Dow and the US 30, the futures, we just call it the Dow. We don't have spot, only the futures. Again, remember, if you don't know what spot and futures are, Google it in this way. Okay. Right. Well, clearly, if I think it's going to come off like we've got to trade out in the S&P, which is about even at the moment, I wouldn't be so decided to buy the Dow or buy the NASDAQ. So I'd be, obviously, I'd still say sell the rally. Like I mentioned before, you need more money. If you can do the Dow and NASDAQ, you do more money. Don't do them small amounts. The volatility is such you could end up getting margin called. Okay. So you can easily trade if you want with about $1,000 or 500 to 1 account, or even smaller, because it's such a highly leveraged account. I'm just suggesting you don't. As I said, we had one guy the other day kicked up big time because he said we stopped him out, and it was nowhere near a stop. And it held our job trying to explain. You were margin call, but you had 4 micros, 4, not 1, 4 micros in a $500 account. Opened up as 4, and then margin called him. And then it jumped in the right way. So his trade was right, his margin call. We thought we were playing funny. And I tried to explain to him that, but clearly, so I've been trading for a year. I didn't want to say so, but not much knowledge if you didn't understand that. So yeah, don't try and go in unless you have enough free margin for the ups and downs. And normally stops, not always, but it depends, but normally stops can be 250, 300, sometimes 350 pips because of the volatility of the Dow. And remember, its contract size is 10, same as the NASDAQ, which is half the price. Well, in fact, less than half the price, about a third of the price. So just remember that. So if you go in the NAS, you get about 4, 5, preferably 5, and the Dow probably twice that, at least 8 grand, preferably a bit more, because of volatility. Remember your exposure on one, not on micro or mini, but one standing on that was about 5 million rand. It's 10 times the number there, multiplied by the exchange rate, comes to plus minus 5 million rand. So that's a big exposure. So 500,000 on a mini and 50,000 rand on a micro. So it's a big exposure. So you put in 500 rand in your account, you do one of those, you got a 50 grand exposure. You didn't actually, you had just over 400 in the account. Remember that, over 400, highly leveraged, He didn't understand the fact. I said, you've got a 200,000 rand exposure on a 400 rand account. That's asking for trouble. Okay. Right. Just bear that in mind. Understand what I'm saying. If you're not sure, look up the specification, said before, right click on it, look at the specification, contract size is 10, and just do the maths. Multiply that by that. So one standard lot, 342,000 US dollars. Obviously, a mini is 1/10 of that, and micro is 100 or 1% of that. Just bear that in mind. That's your exposure. A 5-to-1 exposure is like putting down £2,000 deposit to buy a £1 million house. You might have £2,000 in your account, but that £1 million house just has to move a tiny bit percentage-wise down, and your £2,000's gone. So just be careful of overexposure. Remember, if only £2,000 goes out, look at your exposure. Very important. Just so you remember that. Yeah, because they're not aware of it, you see, Nick. They're not aware of it. You think, oh, hey, hang on, you put your arms around your wife or your husband and say, hey, look, I've just bought a silver house. If you lashed out £2,000, you forgot you're responsible for the other 998,000 rand, because that's your exposure. Deposit margin. Divide the deposit margin into 100, and that'll get you leverage. So one movement in this on a 5-to-1 is not quite, it's not exactly 5, but it's just under actually. It's about 460 times. That's a heck of a movement. Yeah. Well, the best thing to do is make sure you got your stops and deep in the right place. Use the calculator. It'll tell you immediately on 1 micro if it's 350 units. Clearly, if you've got 1,000, you're talking about 35% of your entire account going to one specific security. Let's just bear that in mind. Hope it all makes sense. So I do all the time. I can sort of see the language of the maths. I forget, I could run away myself a bit. But if you get the concept, play around with it, it settles into place, because it is very important. And that's why a lot of people get overexposed. They think the £5,000 coming out of their account, not the enormous amount of exposure they've got. Just so you understand that. Like some people want to buy equities. Equities are not derivatives, they're not leveraged instruments. You have to pay cash. So if you put 5% deposit down on Meta and cash, you have to pay the full amount. So you get the same amount of money, you get 20 times. 5 to 120. You wouldn't be able to do Meta. A lot of people wouldn't be able to do Meta, you know, if you had to pay cash on equity. If you bought that equity Meta, one share's 137, you earn a flat down to $6.5. So it makes it affordable. But man, don't forget, $6.5 come out, but your exposure is still the full 137 US. Okay. And it's dollars there, but your profit and loss on your account, unless you've got a dollar account, obviously, but a rand account is automatically calculated. Okay. But switch over to the NAS and we'll look at the shares. Okay, we're on the 15 minute. No, we're not going to go there now. Let's see how that opens. Give it a few seconds. Yeah, another 20 odd seconds and we'll be able to see how that goes. It might pop up a bit now. See the rand, sorry, the dollar's come off. It's now banked down from 102.50 earlier on today to 102. I'll quickly check on the other chart there. The yields coming off a little bit as well. So we might get small upward movement on gold, but we might get small upward movement on this as well. So yeah, it's opened up a bit. So before you dive into that dot, give it a moment to settle down and see what it opens at. So it's about the same as opening now. Not too bad. So if you want to do the F-stop trade, you can do. The figures are there and you're getting as the signal. Exactly. Haven't seen to move much on opening, if you like it. There, after you want to do it, there it is. Just hang on a minute for those guys who want to do it. Look at the others. Right. So that's the F stock. So some have taken it, some reasons come off of it, even though that's gone up. Oh, well, anyway, we'll see. But anyway, it's come off a tiny little bit. That's good. We looked at Apple a couple. Let's go and see what Apple's doing. I've gone 15 yet, I haven't seen any movement. Yeah, it's gone up a bit, so just hang 5 at the moment. With the yields coming off, that's right, and the dollar coming off, it could be fairly, might have a bit of positive on the share actually. So maybe just wait a few months before you go into it. But I like Apple, so remind we'll come back to it. The other one was Meta. Actually, it was Google. Do Google. Looking like a possibility there. See, we're coming off a bit. Maybe it's worth doing. Just want to quickly check the others and then tell me which ones you like to do. I'll do first, etc., etc. Meta, yep, it's not looking too bad. Let's try the scrunch it a bit. Yep, it's a bit of resistance there. I think Brady saw that. So I like that one. Quite like it a lot. And Microsoft is just about there as well. So, well, not too bad actually. So anyone you start off with, you got the forwards open, do it, you know. Remember, it's only 17 Rand a share is your risk, or $1, or 17 Rand per 1 point. It's not 0.1, 1.0. Get the figures. For goodness sake, don't put 0.1 or anything like that. So if you want to risk 170 Rand, you put in 10. If you want to risk 1700 Rand, you put in 100. I know it sounds a bit awkward when you're used to Forex, but it's completely different volumes. The exposure on a share, where Microsoft, let's go to Google here. The exposure on a share is 1. Okay. 1 is your exposure. Okay. Forex is 100,000. See the differential. Okay. That's why 0.01, or you get the idea. All right. Who want to do? Who start off the list? Do we do Apple first to look at it, or Tesla's shot up? Is it? So that's going to be for. That's interesting. Wow. That is interesting. Why is that? Well, since I don't know why that is, I think I'll just hold back on that for a moment. Okay, Brady. When to do, you tell me. I'll do the figures for you, but I think maybe just be a bit prudent on that. No, that's some jumps up. Could we do a stop up here? It's only $9 stop. If we get a decent entry, sorry, a decent. Yeah, we can definitely get a. If you want to take a TP down there, we get a risk reward. It's coming off a bit now. I quite like it. I don't know why it jumped up like that. Maybe just on the back of the nozzle or something. I don't know. But okay. Right. We got to look at Meta, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Tesla. Which one to look at first to go for? Or none of them? Who wants to look at what to go for? We got Ford already. You know what Ford is, no? With that again, you got Sigma. Looks like you missed it now. Okay, opened at 1270. Those who took it, brilliant. I wouldn't chase it now. It's already come off. Google, okay. Right, okay, 91, yeah. Let's just look at the daily, that's fine, 4 hour. Remember, it could pop up and down. You might pop up another couple of bucks. I don't know. So you could have an overall view. That's $1.80. Sure, oh, put a bit wider than that. What's the distance down here, first of all? Let's do it down here. That's $5. So $3. Where's $3 on here? Yeah, maybe do that as a stop. If you're happy with that, I'll write it down for you if you like it in a second. Okay, so if anyone likes it, I'll just post it for you. Right. Spell Google EP 9105, or better. Don't forget, if you get a higher price, it's even better. And don't forget the stop. You always got to put a full stop after the code. SL is 94, make it $3, okay, like I said, 4.05 TP 86 on the dot. Risk per share or per 1.0 is, well, clearly 3, depending on what count you've got, or 50 per 1.0. There's a bit of, it is a 0.4% cost, but it's fairly negligible. So I think just put it down there net if you like it. Anybody like that one? I'll take it down and go on to the next one. $1.66, not a big deal, Anne-Marie. It's okay. Okay, so got that down. Right. Let's start at the top. Apple. The only thing I have about Apple is one of the stronger of the tech stocks to sell. But anyway, it's right on resistance there. How far is that? That's $1 how far up to here? That's fine. Trying to make $20 on a $100 share too much. That's fine. Maybe make it slightly wider, just out the way a bit. Well, that way, 141.63. That's 130. And then take it down here. 126.24. What's that? That's 15, and that's 7. No, that's plenty. No problem with risk to reward there. And the what's it now? Coming off as we speak. 134.9. If you want to take it, press the sell button. And you don't know the amount to do, that's a problem. It's 134.90. That's 10.566.63. Is that right? 5.663. Or 105. Okay, I'll put that if you like it. Hope I don't miss anything now. Apple. Sell. EP. I've got it right down here. It might have jumped up and around. Obviously, things moving. SL 141.6. Make it 60. That's it. And TP 126.27. Risk is, still there again, 70, isn't it? Right, 70. Yeah, 70. 670. 6.7 for, what's that in rands? 70, 74, 20, about 110. Plus minus 110 per share. It's got a bit of a typo there. OR is or. Okay, yeah, so that's the Apple. The next one on the list was Amazon. Oh, we'll do Meta because that was ours first of all. We'll do that Meta in my alphabetical order. Meta. There we are. Any movement there? Little bit, 15 minutes. Has come off a bit, to be honest. Might get a better price. I think rather aim at 136, you get it's up to you. Just gonna write that down. Stop loss, how far have we put the stop? 200 should be on there, something find it. Of course, we can't know. It's changed from Facebook to Meta within 200 days. So that's 580, slightly higher than that. This it wasn't there till September, which is 4 months ago. 143.50. Bit wider stop and plenty of downside. Plenty of downside. You can take it to there. That's 117. So that's 4,750 or about 120, call it 120 per share. Okay, I'll put that out and you can tell what you like. I'll get it down in the meantime. And ETA sell. EP, make it 136. SL 143.5. TP 117.0. Risk is 7.5 or 120 per 1.0 per share, same thing. Okay, that's that one. Pick out that, pick amongst that, pick amongst the bones there. Did I read my Google? Well, I've done that. Apple, Google, I haven't done Microsoft yet. So Microsoft is close by. Just checking it quickly. That's fine. 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 Not too bad. We can put the stop. The 238, another wider stop. Put it up there. Make it 246.70. 238.05 or better, and that's which is that. That's $8 odd, so you lose 15. Take down to there. What's that say there? 20. 222.60. To stop. The rest is working with second there. 865. Do the Microsoft for you guys, you want it? Then you tell me afterwards which ones you like and I'll put it down. So EP 238 or better, obviously, or higher, which is better. SL 246.70. TP 222.60. Risk is 8.65 or 140 per share. Okay, look at that one. The other one was Amazon, and we'll come back and look at Tesla afterwards. To there, 105. Let's say there. 5.20. And the risk on that is 98,760. Is that correct? 97,805. Yeah, 760, and that's about 120 bucks. Just give me a second to write down Amazon for you, and then we'll discuss it all after that. AMZ, Amazon AMZN dot. So EP 97.60. Yes, now 105. Is that 5? Is it written down at 0.20? Just watch out for any typo errors. Just remind me. 83, I think I've got it right. 60. Risk is 7.6 or 120 1.0. Okay, right, that's sorted that out. Any comments on any of them? We've already got you happy with the f-stop. We're already in on that one. And some guys liked, what was the other one? Google. Some guys like Google. So that's in. All right, what's the next on the list? Apple. Anyone, a couple of people like Apple or not? Microsoft. Anyone else want to join Microsoft? I'm going on Microsoft. Anybody want to join on that? Nobody? Okay, anyone do Apple or Meta, Microsoft, Amazon? Anyone to do any of those? Meta, okay. Where is Meta here? Meta. So we're going to leave Apple, and like Meta and Microsoft. So you can leave Microsoft and you leave Amazon. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, so that's a tick. So I've got down Google, Meta, and f-stop are in, and not Amazon, Microsoft, or Apple. Fair enough. I'll start off with Meta then and post it to guys so other people do it. Just give me a moment. Meta and Google's the other one. Nobody want to do Microsoft. Did someone do Microsoft? Nobody. Oh, Microsoft. I thought somebody did Microsoft. Okay. Just give me a second. I'll just do the Google one afterwards. The other one was Google. Hey. Give me a second. I can't do it until I've got this. I'll make a right cock up of the typos. Right. Okay. See how that goes. Let's go back and have a couple of check of the trades now. F-stop bounced up. So if you didn't get it at just now, you missed it, popped up, you can go in now if you like the F-stop forward. What's the NAS doing? Just want to check on the NAS quickly. Jumping around a bit. Let's just look at the yields and that I mentioned. Yeah, it does come off a little bit. And the yields come off a little bit, so that might be a little bit of lead there, but not sure it's going to be extended. Right, I will look at the other stuff we did. AUD, USD, pop back up again, charm all over the place, like a jack in the box, eh? CAD, JPY, sort of just a bit below entry, but it's still a bit jack in the box in quite a tight range. GBP, where's gold? Gold. Going up slightly more, so those who got it will be quite happy with that. GBP CHF come off a bit up and down, so we'll leave that running. And yeah, that's about it at the moment. The S&P should have gone up a little bit, but it's not as train smash. Yes, a couple of pips up and then it's special. Tesla's the one that's giving me a little bit of a surprise. So just keep an eye on Tesla. It's going to be a short opportunity, that's for sure. But we've seen a bit of upward momentum for whatever reason, not sure why. But I think we can probably get that some stage, not today, maybe tomorrow. You guys keep an eye on it. By the way, we're trying to say you have enough margin. It's very important. Make sure, even if you've got enough margin, you've got to make sure you've got some free margin as well. You know, shares or all instruments go up and down. You need to keep enough free margin to be able to hold the open trade. If you've got 10 grand account, don't put 9,900 on the market. Keep at least 1,500 or so for the noise. Okay, all fun and games. Any comments, guys? I don't need gold stocks. The only ones I know are any of the South African ones. We don't have JSE CFDs. Is it? Is that right though? Remember, he's going. Remember, I said Bradian guys. He's going against the you've heard the special interest group, the swamp, the club, if you like. He's going against them by taking over Twitter. So they're after him. Let's just see if it actually comes out to facts. Remember the fuss they made on CNN and company when Trump was in. I mean, you know, if he kissed a girl, he was a serial rapist by the time they finished the story. You know what I mean? And Biden could be a serial rapist, and he's just had a moment of angst because they obviously support him. So yeah, shut. Where information? Don't trust that mainstream media at all. Goldman Sachs might do it a little bit like that. I don't know. Okay, if he is, we'll see what happens. Okay, gold shares. No, we don't. Oh, Goldman Sachs. I see what you mean. Okay. Oh, all right, fair enough. Oh, you want to look at the shares? Sorry, I thought the report came from there. Catch on, Roger. Okay. Yo, that's come off, isn't it? Bloody hell, what happened there? Yo. Obviously, some bad news came up on the old financial Western Front there. Yeah, I like the sell. Maybe wait for a slightly better price after a big move down there. It might be some profit taking to move up. Remember, it's not just shares. This is an enormous billion-dollar company, as you know. One of the biggest sort of financial groups going. So it's clearly a lot of people trade on derivatives. So it's quite highly leveraged. So probably maybe get a bit of a better price. It's moving up a bit. We can get a price around about this level. Around about this level here, 364-ish or maybe $3 above that. Put the stop up here, it's about $14. Remember, it's a $360 share, remember that? So if you put the stop up there, it is a little bit further away, so be it, $14 is fine. Can we get a TP down here? That's plenty. Won't go to there, will it? No, it won't go down to there. I wouldn't want to put it any tighter than that. So just see if we can get a slightly better price. Okay. If we're going to get 363, so get something better, but that's quite strange. Oh, is that right? Thank you, Farney. Thank you. Is that right? Well, there you are. The trouble is, you know, you get news before it's open, and then you think you want to take advantage. You can't because it opens down on that news. See, if you wanted to sell it, you came in there. It might pop up a bit before you get too cute. But yeah, well spotted. How do you see that? That's a good question, Nick. How do you see that? Well, bloody spotted. Yeah. Well, and then they'll give the spin to the media. They get a spokesman say what needs to be told, and the real stuff you have to be there. I think. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, right. Well, let's look at that. Actually, Goldman Sachs. Well done, Brady. No, Henny. Okay, well done. We haven't got it yet. It's going down the bugger. Been caught before I chase it, and then suddenly it goes shooting up, and I'm caught. I'm two minds. I don't want to miss it. Fear of missing out. FOMO. It's still going down. I'm trying to do. Too indecisive chasing it here. I think I might miss it. Maybe we'll get a bounce here. Does anyone want to chase it here? I'm a bit reluctant. Well, the results the problem. When they lay people off, it's usually good news, because remember, not good news for people laid off, obviously, but for the company's share price, because there's less people to pay, you know. So, but obviously they're laying it off because they've got some problems there. Oh, that's interesting. Well spotted. I didn't have Bloomberg on, I was doing other stuff. Well, I don't know. It's still coming off. Do you want to chase it here, or you missed the bloody boat? Oh, I should have seen earlier on, might have caught it. No, probably would have been pretty quick on it. See, open and down. Look at the 5-minute chart. Look at the 1-minute chart. Yeah, it opened down, right down there. I'm going to give it a go. It's going to have a hell of a wide stop, my friend. I'm going to put the stop in. $17 stop here. So you're talking a 17, call it a $17 stop, my friend. What's that in rands? 17 times that's 170, 340. You know, it's about a 285 rand per share stop. Just bear that in mind. So if you want to do that, you've got to calculate and put it in with the figure after if you want. But yeah, you're talking at a 285 rand or 17 bucks a share is your stop. So if you want to do one share, it's 288 bucks. In other words, you can do half a share, 0.5 if you want. Well, I don't know. I'm checking it out. I might be wrong. Second. How's it, John? Hello? Okay, not a problem. Oh, that's true. Good point. Didn't think of that. That's a good point. I'm so used to working from home. I forgot that. I'll look at it from. I put it on. A good idea. See, we have another bash at it tomorrow. Okay, it's not a problem. I'll put it on the trading WhatsApp group, and if it's still good enough, we'll send them out tomorrow. And that's 100%. It's a good point. I remember that people drive at the moment and they might panic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly. I forgot I'm working from home. Of course, there's guys on the bloody road now. They can hardly stop and but he'll get out the car and hold everyone up. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. All right, I've got them all written down here, and we can have another meeting tomorrow and see if we can send them out then. 100%. Thanks, Ed. Cheers. Bye. It's the office, I think. Fortunately, send out signals now might cause traffic jams and chaos. It will stop the car that might go through. So then we'll maybe send out tomorrow if it's still looking good. And I've got the S down there to keep an eye on as well. That was definitely under my radar. Well spotted there, Eddie. Right, okay. Anything happening on the NAS again, the S&P? Just quickly checking, that's going up a bit still. Maybe we get a bit of recovery later on. Okay, we'll have to check that later on. Okay, fine. Any other questions, guys? Some of the others might get a better entry, I don't know. But you got your trade in, it was up and down, know the story. And let's send them out tomorrow. Okay. If you had 3 trades, that's fine. Somebody says the maximum should be in. A lot of people say about 5, but it depends on how used to it. I mean, I've had 8 or 9 open before, and because I'm used to it, I keep an eye on it. Yeah, I think so. Okay, gotta go practice. Oh, okay. And I'll tell that end gas, so it's still bloody coming down. Okay. This is worrying me a little bit. Is it running out of steam yet? Yeah, I think 11.6 might hold. Bit of luck. Okay, right. Gold's it still going up? It should be. Very, very surprised it isn't. A little bit. I thought it'd go a bit faster. Anyway, your gold's doing all right. GBP CHF. Now what? We're going to sell on that one. What the hell's it doing up there? Ah, well, anyway, it's doing its thing. CAD JPY probably giving us a bit of jip. It always seems to do that. It's a bias. There's Murphy's Law. Probably gives a bit of jip. That's the one that doesn't. Oh, well, great news. It's okay. All right, yeah. Got quite a few out to keep an eye on. We'll look at them again tomorrow morning as I was speaking to the office there, as you heard me. And maybe they'll be sent out for tomorrow's lineup for those who were not in the trading room. And we can take it from there. Okay. Yeah. Anything else you want to discuss going into the evening? Nice and warm here. Okay, only the clucking there. You're okay there, Ronan. Any trades you're open you want to look at, any you're worried about, any you're not sure of, any, like Kenny asked about a moving average or yields or any questions like that? Did this need parity? Thank you, yeah, thank you. That's what I like to hear. It's appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate it. You're in profits, Ron. That's pretty marvelous. I hope when you signed out, you read the small print. If you could send the profits come to the host. Hope you saw that in the small print. Okay, no problem. They keep picking up. Just a bit of practice, that's all. I'm thinking. So yeah. So any questions on the Q&A you're not sure of? I've mentioned before. I've mentioned again in a quiet moment like now. Everybody know how to cut their position, not close the entire position. Cut it. Yeah, well, this is it. That's why it's fast and furious. It's something to trade at last. I hate it when it drags on, nothing happening. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone know how to cut their positions. You got 10 shares, you don't have to sell all 10. You can sell 5 and keep the other 5. Everyone know how to no. Okay, it's quite simple. Unfortunately, I've got a demo account here. My private keep private for obvious reasons. I have to anyway. Yeah. You see, you got your open position there. Let's say it doesn't really matter what it is. If it's a forex pair, let's say if it's 1 micro, you can't cut that because it's a minimum. Let's say you got 0.1. For argument's sake, 0.1 is the same as 10 micros. You got 10 micros open, and you want to close 5 and let the other 5 run. Quite simple. Not the box of the stop loss of TP. That's when you modify the SMTP. Anywhere but these. Here. It doesn't really matter. You just double click, you do it, I'm speaking, double click, a box comes up, and you put in the volume that you want to close, then you press the yellow bar at the bottom. And that's the part you want to close is now closed, basically, and the residual is left. So if you close 5 micros, it'll then change to 5 in your open positions, and 5 would have been banked. Same thing with shares. You got, I don't know, 50 shares in 4, and you want to close 20 of them. Double click on 4, put in 25.00 volume, click on the yellow bar, 25 are closed, and the other 25 is there, or whatever you want to close. Okay. You're not sure? Anybody's still not sure? I can run by it again because it's important. Clearly, it's important. Yeah, so now you know. Anybody else not know when you want to do it again? Because I know a lot of people trading and then closing the tower. I don't have to. So we mentioned before, let's say you bought down here, it's got to be resistance, but it could go further up, which I hope it will do clearly. Pretend it's a day chart, that's a 15-minute chart. Prints a day chart, but you're getting a bit worried, so you think, oh, what I'll do, I'm going to stop this down there, I'll modify it to here, for instance, modify the stop, and you got the CAD JPY, and you got, let's say, 4 micros. I think I'll bank 2 of them, let the other 2 run, and the other 2 are protected anyway, because it's above my entry. And then you just double click, put in 0.02, that's in the case of a Forex, obviously, and then click the yellow button, the yellow bar there, and the 2 residual are left and open, and you bank 2 micros. And then you might go a bit more and get a bit nervous. You can bank on 1 more micro and let the other one run until moving its TP out of the way, move your stop button until you're stopped out. Often people do that as well. Hope you've all got the hang of that. Wasn't too quick and too fast and furious for you. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else you want to look at? Anything you want to recap on? Anything you're not sure of? Like Kenny asked the question there, very useful question. I often find so it's not a cut question, those are usually the best ones. Because sometimes we miss the obvious, we all do it. You all know what I mean when you say the exposure. If I say 1.0 on the euro Japanese yen is 100,000 euros, you all know what I mean. Because it's a euro the base currency. So you go to the specifications, and you see the figure 100,000. That is for the standard contract. I know this half asked, nobody seems to know, by the way. So not much help. Sorry about that. Yeah, the spread is 3.5. It's got 35 points there. The spread is 3.5 pips. Okay, somebody got kicked up. Think your spreads are ridiculous. 35 pips. No, it's 3.5 pips or 35 points. So it's 100,000 euros or 10,000 or micro exposure is clearly 1,000. So you put a micro in, you should see it. Let's just do a micro and show me. Can't JPY, what is it now? .01, it should say 1,000 somewhere. Let's say it. There it is. That's 1,000 Canadian dollars of the CAD JPY. So 0.01 exposure is 1,000. Obviously, you put a deposit down. So that's the price of your car, your deposit, what comes out of your account. Okay. Hope that's all clear. Exposure and share is 1. That's why you do bigger volumes. And the contract value you need to know. So contract value, you'll know that now. If you go to the S&P, what's the contract value? Right click, specifications, I'm not boring you. 10 times the figure there. So it's 40,000 US dollars is the standard lots exposure. Remember on the Dow, it's about 35 or $34,000 for standard lots. On gold, it's only 1,915 on wherever the gold price is. Yeah, gold, you see, that's why a lot of companies out there make the contract size on gold 100, which can confuse people because it's such a small figure on gold. It's 10, just like the Dow and the NASDAQ. So you're going to do gold, that figure there times 10 is exposure. So call that $2,000. So it's $20,000 on gold for standard, $40,000 on S&P, about 11,000, 110, 116,000 or whatever on the NASDAQ, and about 340,000 on the Dow. Vast difference in figures. So 0.01 for the gold, 0.1 on the Dow is a very different animal. I hope you all understand the maths on that. Very, very important. I see that all the time. People getting exactly the same position size, where there's obviously a very different value on the exposure. In fact, quite frankly, quite a few of our clients trading don't even know what I'm talking about when I say exposure. They're not realizing. Some guys don't even know any derivatives. They should know because it's higher risk than equity. But yeah, so any questions on that? I'll be clear on that because that's important. Well, you're completely confused. Needs practice, my friend, needs practice. When I say a pro golfer hits about $250,000 golf balls a year, get the idea. But you've got to, practice or not, you've got to, sorry, it might be a grind if you're not mathematically inclined. Well, tough, because it's important. You've got to need that. You've got to do that. Otherwise, you're driving blind, which is not good. Okay. Just going into the close till tomorrow. Anything else? Just to cover anything else you'd like just a bit of clarity on? You've got your yields now, you know what they are. You've got your DXY, you've got your economic calendar. You know what those colored lines are on the chart, you know what they represent. don't forget, I'm forgetting to say, always remember, if you're new to this, don't forget, set your charts up. Quite simple. If you change your charts around, right click on the blank part of the screen, go to properties and set it up as you like. That'll be the example. If you're happy with the look of it, then you say okay, and it's saved. Once you saved it, you go to your templates and you save the template. So if you lose your charts, no panic. You just right click, go to your template, and there's your name. Nick Maz, if you like, put in Nick Maz or whatever, or Nick1, and then it'll come up there and you click on it and your charts come back. So everybody who hasn't saved the template, their charts, and are happy with the way it's set up, right click and save it. If you change and you want to set up another one, like I'll do one now, I'll give you an example, because I didn't have the 100 on the previous one. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to templates, I'm going to save the template. And we're going to put this in. I'm going to put the name in Roger. And put TR. That should do it. Eh? I haven't got another one TR, so it's a new one. Save that. So now that's saved. So now I made a balls up. I clicked a long button, something like this, and this happens. And then you panic, trying to get hold of someone like chat. They're all busy. You don't know what's going on. You're frustrated. You're irritated. You're annoyed. Right click. Go to templates, Roger TR, and away you go. Happy. Looks pretty much up. Just want to cover a couple of things I try and do every session, just for you guys, because it's very frustrating if the guy comes, not for me, I mean for the person themselves, and especially when we're all busy or I'm on another call or whatever, and I lost the charts and how to get out of it. You guys, a trader, now do. No, I didn't say it exactly. This is where, so careful what you say, because people often get the stomping. It's not they're not exact. The algorithms worked out by certain mathematical individuals on past history. So they work on past history. You get that, the root strength indicator. There's several of them. I can't remember all of them. Some I've never used. All I'm saying is not wrong with them. I'm saying they're lagging the price action. So often you look at it and you think, that's what's like to come because of that. No, that's telling you it's worked out what already has happened. So let's go and put in an RSI, how you mentioned. Let's go to the daily. Now, when you see the daily and you look at those candles, what do you think that's doing since December? Going up or down? Don't answer that question. It's blatantly bloody obvious. That's the problem I have. Because sometimes I get into it and tell you what you can see anyway. So put it in. All right, sorry, indicators. It's an oscillator. Remember the RSI? So you go to Roger strength indicator. You can put any figures you like. I'll put those and leave them there. Now, there you are. Start to come off. Well, surprise, surprise. You know what I mean? There's going up quite nicely. Well, surprise, surprise. So I'm not saying they're wrong. A lot of them using their strategies where one crosses over when it starts coming off from the 70, or a negative divergence when it continues up and this comes off. Looks like a negative divergence for the price. So you might think to sell it, that sort of thing. That's fair enough. But remember, support, resistance, and understanding the currencies you're in or the shares you're in, a bit about them, is to me more powerful and just for looking at that indicator and hope for the best. But they do have their uses. But what I quite like is the candle. I look at it. I mean, and Marie, was it yesterday or somebody, was it yesterday or whatever? So didn't like one of them. I can't remember which one. There's too many tails. I can tell by looking at the tails there, or the wicks, or what do you want to call them, that the sellers are not getting much follow through. The sellers come in as it comes off. It's not getting much follow through because the buyers are coming in, and that gives me quite a bit of information. I'll go to a shorter term chart. Now I can see it's consolidating around those levels there. Do you see what I mean? Indecision. Buyers and sellers, neither in particular in control. That tells me a lot. I'm not saying it doesn't tell me anything, but it is a bit of a limitation there. And if you trade on the 1 hour chart, you see it's near the 30. You go to the 4 hour chart, it's fairly sort of still got, looks like it could have a bit of way up. On the daily chart, looks like it's coming off. It's often going to be conflicting. So I'm not saying they're wrong. They're just lagging the price action. I say ABC, A, B, and I want to set it where C likely to be. Or I want to buy it rather. If this is, forget what's happened before. Pretend it's an uptrend, okay? A, B, it's come off a bit. I want to see when to buy it, when it retraces. Well, I'd rather use a Fibonacci if I'm going to buy this. I'll take the fib from there to there and say, If it bounces from the fib, I'll buy it. If it bounces from that fib, I'll buy it. Now, this coincides with the 50. So to me, plus there's a bit of support there. Look, there's a bit of support there as well. Put that in there. Yeah, there's a bit of support around those levels as well on the daily. So if it comes back to this level here and bounces, you're looking for a long, you got the fib, you got the 50-day moving average, you got previous support. I'd rather have that than confirmed by the RSI stochastic any day of the week and Sundays as well, if you see my point. All makes sense there, Nick? Hope you understood that. But down with pleasure. I'll take that off, get it out of the way. It tends to jump to other charts. It's a bit irritating. Hope that made sense. The Dow is, I prefer to sell the rally. If you want to sell this, yeah, we're going to put stop up the way here, put it up here, but slightly higher up. Make it the stop, make it about 280 pip stops. You're talking about a $28 per micro. $28 US per micro as your stop loss. What's $28 times 18? That's what 560, 40, about just over 540 rand a micro. You get my point. So you need about I think preferably 10 grand in your account to get a risk 500 rand. That's up to you if you want to do the Dow. Okay, Ronan. That's up to you. You can still do it if you're a highly leveraged account, but just be aware if you got you could get quite volatile. Okay, so if you might be right on the short, Ronan, but for the jumping around, especially at 4:30 opening, you could get stopped out because you just can't have the wide stops. So if you have the accounts too small, or you could get margin called in the noise before it eventually goes in your direction. You're not on board. So just bear that in mind. Go for it. Yeah. So yeah, if you can afford it, do it. Yeah, I'm happy with the downside. Yeah. And what I like, 102 is held on the DXY. It's bounced up a little bit, so maybe I'll continue. Okay. Okay. Let's have a look at the NAS again. Put it 50, get a better idea. It's jumping around a bit. There you are, it's a 15-minute movement there. That's moving 15 minutes, 150 pips. You get the idea. That's about 250, is that right? It's about 250 odd rounds, like plus mark on the top there. So if you've got a 500 rand account, you've got a problem. That's in the first 15 minutes. That's the best way to illustrate it. Hope that's all clear. In fact, you finally know that. Okay. Let's have a check the NAS. That's why my weekly newsletter say every time, please don't trade it in accounts NASDAQ. I do it on a NASDAQ, by the way, below 5 grand or 4 to 5 grand, preferably 5 for those reasons. Come on, NASDAQ, I thought you might be coming off. Come on. Yeah. Look at this one. We're on the 15 minutes. Right. It's just opened. This is now what? 15, 5 o'clock. Yeah, open there, right? It's moved already in just under 1 hour, 135 pips. That's $13.5. That's over 200 rand. You can't hack that. Even on a 1,000 rand account, that's 20% of your entire account on one instrument in less than an hour. That's why don't try and get cute with this. You might get lucky, but it won't always last that way. I think we chickened out of that, Karen. It's coming off even more. Maybe we should have bloody done it. We haven't now. We'll have to look at it again tomorrow. So yeah, there might be a bit of noise before the NAS comes off. Hopefully it will come off. So yeah, I think we'll just let that lot settle. We're getting into 5:30 soon. So just like the last couple of minutes, just answer any questions. It's vital as a forum. People like Pinkano and Ronan and Nick ask these questions so I can assist. And you find some of the questions you asked, like Nick asked just, not Nick Henny, sorry, asked just now, is actually relevant to everyone else because they never thought of that question. So I didn't think of that. That's a good point. Or I didn't know I could cut my position. I thought I had to close it all. These things come out, you know. Well, I got a trader, and the nice thing on trading, it's free. Except for 50% profits you've got to send me, otherwise it's free. The answer to that is, okay, if that's the case, Roger, can you say take 50% of our losses? Oh, well, no, but that's different. So maybe we'll just call it even Stevens. Yeah, but yeah. But yes, it has come off. I think just jumping around. I think some of that's noise and some of that is. Do you remember Laurel and Hardy? When he used to Hardy, I think it's Hardy or was it Laurel? Used to scratch his head. You know what I mean? It's a bit like that at the moment. On the one hour, it can move up, and on Monday move down. Is it not? No. It's impossible to move up on 1 hour. If it's going down, it's going to go down, isn't it? It's not going to go flying off the 50 in the day flying up. It's impossible. It's just all you're doing is just zooming in. A 15-minute means it's a 15-minute candle zooming in, so you can see it more clearly. You put it on a week, you can't see it so clearly the move, can you? But the ups and downs is the noise, you're right. That's why you take an overall view and don't panic. If you stare at the profit loss and go to panic every time it moves $1 against you, not the money, I mean, talk about the price, $1 against you and $1 for you, you quickly go crazy, you know? It's just, you've got a view, you think it up, so it's going to jump around. Don't do what some people do, going up or buy it and turns red, they close it and go in that, don't think about the costs involved, and then wonder why you have a bit of remorse. You've taken an overall view, the ups and downs are completely and totally 100% unpredictable. You don't know. Whether that be 1908 or 1912, the next hour or so, nobody on planet Earth, maybe on the Andromeda Galaxy knows, but nobody on planet Earth knows this. Okay. Somebody's trying to come right. Okay, thank you very much, Shifra. Have a good evening to you, Marie. Thank you all for your contributions. Thank you for being here. And yeah, there's not that many people left, so we might as well move on. It's coming up to 1:30 anyway. I'll catch you tomorrow. Fingers crossed, get some more action. We'll review the fundamentals on the economic front tomorrow as well. Keep an eye on them and see what we can get out of them. Fantastic. Thank you, Colin. Don't forget the noise. Maybe we'll be in profit 2 o'clock in the morning and down at 4 and back in profit at 6. That's the noise. So hope we all come right in the end. Don't forget, modify, not too close to stop, but to reduce risk. Okay, catch you. Thank you.